Australia's best breakfast with Stephen Cenatiempo on 2CC.
It's 8:18, cloudy with a very high chance of showers, tops of 15 degrees across Canberra today. Across the rest of the region, cloudy with a very high chance of showers, chance of a thunderstorm, and tops in the low to mid-teens. Time to catch up with One Nation leader, Senator Pauline Hanson. Pauline, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Now, I'm going to half agree with you today and half disagree with you. You've talked about the digital ID bill that's before Parliament at the moment. You oppose that because you say it's linked to the 15-minute city idea, which I got to say I completely oppose, the idea that everybody has to live on top of each other and only be able to walk 15 minutes from their home. But the digital ID idea I don't think is a bad idea.
Well, like I said, I disagree with you. Those 15-minute cities are actually in place in Oxford in England. They've put them in. People don't know, and I've only just become aware of this yesterday, that they're actually doing 30-minute cities in Sydney. Sydney's going to be carved up into places like you've got the North Shore, then you've got the central setting, then you've got the southern western. I've been advised that cameras have already been put out at Maryland's. What it means that if you go beyond a certain point, you're actually going to be photographed and your car registration is taken. And some of these cars also, the electrical vehicles, they actually have devices in them that the car can actually automatically be stopped, and you won't be able to go any further whatsoever than that point.
Yeah, but there's no indication that that's what this digital ID is about. I agree with you about the 15. Canberra's already a half-hour city by car, but they want to stop people from moving between suburbs. But isn't this more about trying to stop? I mean, the whole concept of this digital ID is about trying to stop the hacking that's been going on by having a central digital identification so that you're not handing out your ID to everybody every time.
I think it goes beyond that, Stephen, because I think it's controlling where you bank, where you shop, how much meat you eat. Your whole life is controlled around it, how much movement you make. So you do a certain number of trips a year, that's your emissions that you're putting out into the atmosphere. So I think it's actually control. They wanted to get rid of cash, therefore you'd have to do everything through your credit card. So once you don't have cash anymore, you're actually controlled by the whole system, and that's what we opposed as well. Stephen, it's all headed towards controlling the people. We saw it happen in COVID. It's hard to believe that our governments would do it to us, but this is happening around the world.
But what's
controlling the people? What's
the motivation behind it, though?
It's about controlling the people. As Swab said, you'll own nothing, you'll be happy.
Yeah,
it's
but
about
why?
one world government. It's about controlling the people. You have zealots out there on this climate change BS that the world's coming to an end. It's all been geared to controlling people, our movements. The rich won't be won't be under this. They'll be able to afford it. They have their own jets. They have their own areas. These cameras won't go up in areas where people with money have. The rich in our society, it's all controlling the plebs. That's what it's all about. And if you can't see that, people need to open up their eyes. You don't understand what goes on in the Parliament. People are oblivious to the policies that are being passed in that Parliament. You need to think yourself, would our governments do it to us? We never thought the governments would treat us the way they did when COVID came in. People were arrested. You couldn't even sit on a park bench. You were taken away. The elderly, you couldn't move more than 5 kilometres, and people went along with it. So don't be misled. Open your eyes up and look at what could happen in the future.
All right, it's an interesting concept. Pauline, always good to talk to you. We'll catch up again next week.
Thanks, Stephen. Bye.
Senator Pauline Hanson, One Nation leader.